I'm Johnny Ray, and this is for Addicts from Addicts, also the first phase of 5R recovery. I have two awesome guests who have agreed to share their testimony with us today, Dan and Amy. They have gone through some stuff together, and they have gone through some stuff separately, so I'm really interested to get their story. I'll ask you a simple question right off the bat. How do we know each other?
NA. Meetings.
That's how we know each other. Us.
Oh, how we know each other. Oh.
Well, I meant me, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, sorry, I'm a little ding-ding sometimes.
Nope, breathe it out.
So, me and Amy have known each other since...
I was 13.
I was
you
15.
Were 15 and a half or something like that.
Yep.
My brother, this was his best friend.
Was. Keyword there. Was best friend.
Right, yeah. It's one of those things where don't date my sister and, oppositional defiance disorder kicks in, and that's exactly what it is.
Wait, say that again?
Oppositional defiance disorder.
Just wait. I had to
Tell them what it means.
Oppositional defiance disorder is a fight or flight that sits in your head, and when you grow up with traumatic lifestyles and things like that, you have a tendency to have a fight or flight mentality in your entire life. And
Very smart.
yeah, one of those things. I didn't get diagnosed with that until I went to treatment.
Nice.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Very nice. So let's start.
All right.
How did your addiction start, Dan?
So, my addiction started when I was about 12 years old. I had a toothache, and my stepdad gave me cocaine. He said, "Here, just rub this on your gums. It'll make the toothache go away, right?" And then I was kind of like, "Oh, what's it do if I do it like you do it?" You know what I mean? Like, and that was it, man. It was on. Literally, I went from cocaine to acid, mushrooms, crank at the time, and I continued to do that for, good 10 years. Her brother, the one we're speaking of, made a bad deal with my family. I grew up with bikers and stuff that, became my permanent family pretty much, and got me ran out of the state of Washington. Literally, they were going to kill me if I didn't leave. They told me, "You either leave or we're going to kill you." Wow. So I packed up my bags. She was pregnant with our first daughter at the time, and I told her, I said, "I ain't got a choice here. They're going to kill you, kill me. They're done. I got to go." I moved to 29 Palms, California, in the middle of the desert. Got clean for about 6 months when I first got there. Then I got introduced to glass, which...
So now you guys were already together doing all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
She didn't do
I
drugs.
didn't do drugs.
Oh, okay.
She was clean at the time.
See, that's
Yeah.
interesting because usually it's one, they go together, right?
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I stayed out there. I got clean after about a year of doing meth, glass, coke, weed, pretty much anything I could get my hands on. And we had stayed friends and talked. I had gotten with another lady, had 3 children. She got with another guy, had a child.
That's when AOL was still out.
Let's see.
Oh, dial-up.
Yeah.
I contacted her. She had lost a boyfriend a couple years prior. We still talked, and I had just gone through a divorce about a year before that. And I'm like, "Man, I miss you, dude. I miss my kid, And actually, when I looked her up, I saw a picture of my daughter, and I'm like, "Damn, she still looks the same, just like when she was 20, and it was actually my daughter." And she's like, "No, that's my mom," and I'm like, "Oh," and so we contacted each other, and she's like, we talked day in, day out, and I just told her, I said, "You know what, I'm coming home." I said, "I'm coming home."
I didn't believe it.
She didn't believe me. I showed up 2 days later, and that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
When did Amy start using it in the relationship?
You're about to get that.
All right.
Just
Lay it
one
on
minute
me.
here. So,
Why am I jumping?
when
No,
I
it's
came
okay.
in,
It's
when I
okay.
came back, she was addicted to alcohol. She was an alcoholic.
And pills.
And pills.
Yeah.
I started doing pills with her.
I had a degenerative disc disease, and so they had me on 10 per-30s a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll
And
do
so
Yeah.
that spiraled into we got married. We were high already. I better go back a little bit here.
Yeah, you're
We were laying in bed one night. She's sleeping, and I was out cold, and all of a sudden she just starts punching me in the face, man, out of nowhere, like beating my ass, bro. And I'm like, "What the fuck?
We've
are you
never
doing?
had a
Get
fight a
off of
day
me,
in our
man! Get
relationship
off of
at that
me!"
point.
And she wakes up, and she had remembered all the childhood trauma she went through. She told me, I think it was the next morning, she comes to me, she said, I just want to forget again. What can I do to forget? And I'm like, well, let's do meth. My addict comes out, oh, let's do meth, right? Look, that's a great idea. We'll just do it for the weekend.
Just for the weekend. The kids are all gone.
Let's solve everything with math.
Right?
We will fix this. We just need math.
Because
We
the
just
thing
need math,
was,
right?
I just didn't want to feel anymore.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
Like, so I was a sex trafficked child most of my life. And what I mean by that, I don't mean like my parents sold me to hundreds of people. What I mean by that is I had always been a very promiscuous person. I don't ever remember being a virgin, ever. And I'd say 90% of all my dad's friends had touched me. I lived in a mobile home park where I was the only girl out of all boys.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we were all starting to go through puberty at the same age, stuff like that. And so, like, I was always very promiscuous, and I always dated older guys because I could get what I wanted out of older men.
Absolutely.
I've been manipulating since the day I can remember, to be honest with you. It's how that worked out. And so I had slept with older men, and what would happen is my mom was going through a divorce with my dad, who was very, very abusive. Like, hide in the attic, went into hiding in a homeless shelter underground and stuff. So, and I had, so I had been molested most of my life, right? So I dated all these older guys, and my mom would find out, and my mom would blackmail them.
Wow.
That's why she says sex trafficking, because
my
mom
mother
got
sold
something
me.
out of
I mean,
it.
to me, that's
Wow.
it's not
Maybe not
Definitely
intentionally,
not
but
intentional.
yeah.
It's definitely
But-
something I've never heard of before, which is
Yeah.
very interesting. I've never heard of
Well,
that before. That's crazy.
Because at 35-year-old man dating a 12-year-old girl is not.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
But now, okay, so now let me say something about that though too. At 12 years old, this woman looked like she was 21.
Yes.
okay.
Yes,
She
I was
was
even
very
getting into
well-
bars.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would get into bars here. I'd go to Canada and get into bars. And I was always treated older because I always looked older, and I always hung out with older men and their friends and did things that they did at, between 20s and 30s, you know what I mean? So, like, I always felt older. So that's just the type of crowd that I attracted. And, of course, the men that I ended up with were just as manipulating as I was, but just for their own selfish reasons, of course.
Yeah.
And so things happened, like pregnancies. My first child at 15, but I had been pregnant like 8 times before I had my first child. And, I had frequent flyer miles at Planned Parenthood. And growing up, I didn't understand, like, over the years, I didn't put 2 and 2 together, if that makes any sense. Like, it wasn't
She didn't
taught.
feel like what they were doing was wrong.
No, I just thought that I was obviously older and that that's what I would attract to somebody who's like me. You know what I mean? And anyway, so go ahead.
So, anyways, so that
that's
happened. We got high, obviously. I mean, once
I had-
an addict
I
mentions
had-
to another addict, hey, I know a drug that's better. Obviously, she followed in my
the
footsteps.
important part of that you need to know is that over time, because in my own mind I wasn't being molested, right? So in my own mind, it was normal for these people to be attracted to me. So I did not ever understand that there was a difference. And so you need to know that I understand that I'm responsible for my actions and who I allowed myself to be perceived by. I lied about my age a lot. I had to at that point.
Yeah, but when you're at that young of an age going through something like that, how can you possibly hold yourself responsible
That's
for something
where-
that...
But I mean, now I do.
it's- Okay.
You know what I
but-
mean?
well,
Like,
yeah,
I try
it's-
to own my side of the street on it.
Which is
Definitely.
amazing. That shows recovery. But to
Yeah.
be honest, I feel like with what you have gone through at such a young age, in no way, shape, or form could that have been held you responsible.
Right.
Well, like over time,
That's-
I
oh,
guess,
man.
I guess, like over a period of time, I started blocking those things out. Like they were a part of my past, and that's just how it was. And
To the point she forgot completely about it.
when, honestly, I did. I
Blocked it
really
out,
did.
huh?
To the point where when I remembered, I was like, what the fuck? Like, why did my mom do that? Well, I honestly felt like my mom had sold me at that point. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Wow.
So I pretty much, like, when we decided that we were going to get married, and I believed that we would spend the rest of our lives together, I guess it unlocked something in my head. Said, you're safe. And so I woke up, and all at once I remembered every person who had ever touched me. And at that point, I knew it was wrong what they had done. So all of a sudden, I felt all these feelings like, how could that have happened? How did so many people get away with that? Like, I traveled states. At 12 years old, my mom flew me to Chicago and New York by myself to meet up with guys. Stuff like that, you know what I mean? That paid for my daughter's crib. It paid for everything I ever needed for my daughter. Electric bills,
house
my
payment.
Mom's rent.
Now, when you met her,
My
did
car?
you know all? Because you were best friends with the brother, right?
So here's
some
the
of this had
thing.
to
Here's the
have been-
thing is, I'm not going to say any names or anything, but my best friend's dad, which he's an adopted brother, was one of the people that was molesting her. She did tell me back then, but she told me I wasn't allowed to do anything. Stay out of it, stay out of it, stay out of it, because she knew who I was and who my family was. And so I kind of had to shut it out too. You know, I was thinking, well, whatever, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, right? Well, when I came back 20 years later and this happened, it hit like, whoa, fuck, she's telling me the truth, dude, and I didn't do nothing about it. So some of that came too, you know, like I felt bad that I didn't stay and I didn't step up in that position as a man and as my child's father, you know, at the time. But when this all went down and we started getting high, I can tell you in a week's time, everything escalated, man. Like, we went from this loving couple that never argued,
Our
never
children was
fought,
our focus of
never.
our entire universe.
We just raised our kids. We had money. We had everything we ever dreamed of. To we're now fighting. She was putting hands on me at the time.
A lot.
I was, you know, I was being a dick. Don't get me wrong. I was being verbally fucking abusive from hell because I was loaded and I just had no
He
moral
was sick of
compass
it.
anymore,
You
right?
can only hit somebody so much before they start to hit you back.
Right,
And that's
absolutely.
just human.
Yeah.
And so, and then it moved on. We moved over into our new house, which was our dream home. This
It
was a
was.
home we always wanted.
It was gorgeous.
3-bedroom house, 2-bath, wood floors throughout.
RV shop.
Yeah, 2-car
Nice.
garage.
Nice.
Just beautiful, beautiful. We had everything. It was the American dream, right? But we're getting loaded in the background.
And little did I know that there was a city cop that lived 2 houses down and the sheriff that lived directly behind.
Yes.
Wow.
So we threw like a housewarming party, and she got a little tanked, got a little bit verbally abusive. Which at this point, our music, it was 2 a.m. Our music's blaring, you know, and the cop's wife walks through our gate, through our front door, doesn't even knock,
Turns down our radio.
turns off our stereo. My wife picks up a big glass ashtray and pegs her in the fucking face with it, dude. So you know where that's gonna go. Well, that
I got
it didn't stop
hog-tied.
there. She
I
went
got
after me,
hog-tied.
and the cops come, put her in hog tie her, put her in the back of the car. So
Face
she's
down.
in jail.
Face down.
While she's in jail, I lost my shit. I cheated on her, which that's not who I am.
Which
at
is
all.
like the worst, not like the worst thing, but like the worst timing.
right
Because
right.
I'm already just dealing with what the fuck's going on. Why do I remember my brother touching me? And he's my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like every scent, every feeling, every place that it ever happened at,
Right.
laundromat, bathroom floor. Certain things like that would set me up.
Right, right.
Wow.
And then so it escalated. I mean, she's in jail. I cheated on her. And then my depression kicked in. Like I fucked up, right? Like, and I knew I fucked up, and I was probably gonna lose the woman I love. So I stuck a needle in my arm, and it was all bad.
And I'd get out of jail and I'd walk home. I walked in the front door and Dan was asleep on the couch. And I had walked home in flip flops in the rain. And I was pissed that he could have came and got me. Because in my head, it was like, okay, I was drunk. We're done fighting. He's going to be there for me. You know what I mean?
Because I normally would.
No. I hit him. He had me arrested for felony assault.
Actually,
for
our son did. but
hitting
yeah,
him
yeah.
in the foot with a flip flop.
Yeah.
And violation, no contact order.
Wow.
Of course. And then the whole time my dad was dying from cancer. So like in my head while I'm in jail, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. My dad cannot die with me in jail. All my siblings have had really rocky paths, you know? And I was the one kid that he always had. That he knew he could be, that would be there for him and that wasn't gonna fuck their life off, you know? And so I pled guilty to assault because I had done it. I really had done it. But at that point, I kind of started understanding what I was doing, and so I wrote a letter to the judge and explained the whole situation. And he was nice enough to let me out of jail with a warning. Do not go back to that house. So what do? I go down
She
the
goes
alley.
right back to the house and goes in the garage in front of the cops.
Well, yeah, because the girl he was cheating on me with was standing in my garage going through my mother's hope chest.
Oh.
Yeah. All
And
bad.
so I went back
All
to
bad.
jail for assault again, violation of
How many times have you been to jail at this point?
3.
contact.
Three.
Her, yeah.
How many times have you been to jail at this point?
I couldn't tell you.
This is important.
Yeah.
Half of my life, man.
Right.
Half
Yeah.
my life.
And I'm an all or nothing person, so it's kind of like go hard or go home.
Right.
Right?
I think that's as addicts, we all are like that.
Right.
Right. Let's go to
Well,
the most extreme.
And now that I think about it, I feel horrible because my kids at that point saw something in me they had never seen before.
Right. Absolutely.
My stepsons were in very abusive homes and when they lived with their moms, and I was their savior. You know what I mean? And I fucked it up really bad.
You didn't just fuck it up. We fucked it
Well,
up.
we-
And look at what you guys went through. I mean, gosh, again, I love that your guys' recovery is so strong, and you guys have you guys put find where your place is in these stories.
Absolutely.
But holy crap, the upbringing and the things that you guys
Oh,
went
yeah.
through, the fact that you are still sane enough to be able to recognize what you guys is truly remarkable, and that's just
Right.
my opinion. I've
That's
never
God.
heard this story before, and this to me makes me think of wow, two remarkable people who have gone through some crazy stuff.
Oh, you've
have been
only
able to
hit
get
the
themselves.
beginning.
I know. I'm
It's
ready.
about to
I'm
get
ready.
even
We got
deeper,
plenty
bro.
of
It's
time.
about to get deeper,
All right,
let me
let's
tell
go.
you.
Okay.
So
keep
after
going.
that,
Let's get
she
some
went back to
coffee.
jail. And I went off the fucking hook, dude. Like, I was starting to shoot up at least a 20 sack a day by myself, and I was new at shooting up. And lost the house because I
Our
didn't pay my
youngest
rent.
ran away.
Yeah. She
And we
ran
couldn't-
away.
And, he,
with-
and I, when I went to jail and I knew I was going to be in there a minute, I gave him custody of my youngest daughter because she doesn't know her dad. He was a once-a-year dad. This was her dad, and I knew if nothing else, she would always be okay with him regardless. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I gave him custody of her, and she ran away, and we couldn't get her. He could not get her to come back, and so then that's when her biological dad was called because if somebody didn't find her, they were going to take his kids too
and put me in jail.
and mine.
What was the biological dad like? Just short, briefly.
Same.
Say.
Meth head.
Method.
Method. Abusive.
Abusive.
Right. So scared you knowing that she's going
Right,
back.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Son
she
or
didn't
daughter?
know he had
Daughter.
daughter.
Yeah.
And she didn't know him.
Right. Yeah, it's scary.
Bikers,
Yeah.
Yep.
worst age possible, 10. It's like literally just before puberty.
Yeah.
And see, and I started my period when I was 9. And so it was like I knew it was coming. Oh, it was so bad.
So, and it escalated from there. So, she got out of jail. I went in, I actually went before the judge this time, and I said, look, man, all I want is my wife back, man. I said, I can't live without her. You know, I don't want to press charges. I want this shit dropped. So he dropped the charge of assault on me, left the charge on assault on the officer, obviously. 'Cause,
Yeah.
You know, that's just what it is. Let her come back home, which we didn't have a home. We were living in a little tiny van at the time with another couple and our kids.
And our kids.
Yeah, so
Unfortunately.
we bought a motor home. She convinced me to move over here, which that has always been like, no way, you know, because I grew up out here. This is where I got in a lot of trouble. Like, this is the first time I went to jail, prison. I mean, for all
But my dad
shit.
was dying. And the important thing was is that I needed to be there for my dad.
And so I said,
Regardless.
okay. We hauled it up, started staying over here, and it started happening. We ran out of money. We lost our motorhome after doing a high-speed chase. I ripped off my big old drug dealer, stole a bunch of dope from him, hopped in the motorhome with our children in the motorhome.
Yeah.
Down fucking I-5. The guy's got a gun in his lap and cuts me off, so I fucking lock my brakes, jump out with a crowbar, go after the guy with a gun. You know,
Wow.
just all this shit,
And the
dude.
whole time
And-
going, how could you do that?
yeah,
My
what the
children are
fuck,
in this
man, you
car.
know, giving him the attitude when I just stole all of his fucking dope, dude.
That is
Right?
typical addict.
Right, like-
What are you doing to me? That's the problem.
Right?
Like,
That's
I'm
the
putting my
situation.
children at risk.
Not caring whether cops were involved.
Don't mind that I stole
I didn't
your
give a
stuff.
fuck,
all
right?
right? It's-
So it escalated from that to where we're going down the freeway and our motorhome overheated and I was sleeping. She was driving. She woke me up to fix it and I wasn't happy about it and I slapped her. It was the first time I've ever put hands on a woman in my fucking life. And I went to jail and I got
But
back
we were
out.
also both coming down.
Yes.
So you stick two people who don't come down well together. And she might as well get tickets, bro, because it's
Right,
not
right.
going right now.
So,
Pegged him in the back of the head with a CV, busted his head
Oh,
open
yeah?
while he's driving down the freeway.
at 70.
Oh, yeah.
Whipped that motorhome sideways, slid to a stop. I'm like, what the fuck? You know?
With our kids in the car.
And all this time, there's needles floating around. My kids are seeing it. Like, my sons have seen horrific shit.
Horrific.
Between the two of you, how many
he
kids?
has ulcers.
We have 5.
We have 5.
5.
I
We
have
have
2,
3
he has
girls
3.
and 2 boys. So I get out of jail, and my kids are like, dude, we're going to Grandpa's. Fuck you, call Grandpa. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they were mature enough to know that we weren't going to stop. They knew it, you know.
And at that point, we were having our kids hold signs in the gas station parking lot.
Oh yeah, dude. They were stealing
in Walmart to get food.
Bad. It was all bad.
Yeah.
So after they left,
So you can imagine why I'm leery about even talking.
You've done great, though.
You are doing wonderful.
The beginning is always the toughest part. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, when I start my videos, I'm like, hey, I'm Johnny Ray, and you know? And it always comes off awkward. And then once we start getting the stories, then it's like, dude, it's so good.
Right.
So really, we just need to X-name me out of it.
Right? So it's about
I
to
think
get
that's
better.
what we've determined, right?
You look great.
Yeah.
So the kids leave with Grandpa. My grandpa's like, or my dad's like, you know, I know you're fucking up.
Don't come back till you're done.
You
Wow.
guys are done. You either fucking stop or just don't talk.
And
to
his
me.
dad had spent a lot of time when we were younger putting him in rehabs. He spent at least a good $100,000 on rehabs.
Jeez.
And so for him to go back out after being
Was a kick in my dad's
clean
face, you know what I
after
mean?
being
Like-
clean for 18 years,
Yeah.
dude, his dad gave up.
And now going back, now starting the needle. Because, I mean, if you didn't do the needle before this, right?
Oh, I did.
Oh,
I
okay.
did, but I hadn't
Same.
done it in 20 years, right?
Wow.
So after my boys left, I was trying not to use the needle as much, you know, because
But when our boys were gone, see, and our oldest daughter at that point had been using.
Yeah.
Before I even used.
How old was she?
25 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. She's 28, so she was 24.
24.
See, and our oldest daughter, because I was going to shoot out no matter what, and I knew it. And
I wouldn't do it.
And the thing is that
No
you
way.
gotta realize is that I knew before I ever put dope inside of me that I was addicted to it. I knew that, and I knew it when I did it. But at that point, it was just kind of like, you know, we had gone through so much shit, and it was a why. Why couldn't I just continue to not remember? I was okay with that. I could have lived the whole rest of my life without remembering the type of person I used to be or what brought me up to that point, you know? And so, if God loves me so much, why? And if God is the creator of everything and he decides what happens, what kind of fucking asshole is that?
Right?
You know? So I had someone to blame. Because throughout my entire life, I was a super strong person, at least I thought I was. And I was super over precautious with my kids. And just, I mean, like, my granddaughter now is still, I don't care what her mother says, she's never allowed to wear a 2-piece bathing suit. Ever. You know?
Right,
So, like,
way overprotective.
way
like,
overprotective.
Like, she's 8 years old. I mean, like, she's way over. It's good, though.
But, so it was like, I had someone to finally, at least I think that's what it was. I had someone to blame, and it was God for me.
Yeah.
And I lived on.
Right? And then, so, you know, it escalated. She begged me to shoot her up. And I said, no, I won't do it. I won't be the one that destroys your fucking life. I've already destroyed mine, you know? And I knew.
So my
At that
daughter-
point in my life, I'm like, no fucking way, dude. Am I ever going to quit?
So our daughter showed up in the middle of it.
And shot her up.
And I asked my daughter to shoot me up.
And it was over.
She was the only person I really trusted, you know? And, you know, of course, Dan had rules, like, men are not allowed to shoot you up. They're not allowed to sit on their knees and shoot you up. They must be standing. You must be up at it. You know what I mean? Just, like,
Right.
little things like that. But, like,
I still had a little bit of morals at the time.
by me having my daughter shoot
No,
me
it's
up,
interesting.
it changed our relationship forever.
Yeah.
I mean, we go through phases where we're super close, and then we have a fallout, kind of like what we're having right now, the fallout between her and I. But then we are close, and we will always be super close, but it did change who we were as people.
Absolutely.
And what we know as a mother-daughter that we're capable of doing to each other. Because after that happened, we went on a horrific, I didn't feel it was horrific at the time, but now that I look back at it, a horrific law-breaking, I don't want to call it a shopping spree, but we were stealing. Just immense stealing. And I
Disappeared
got
for 2
so
weeks.
good at it. I got so good at it. And it was Christmas. So in my head, guess what I'm telling myself? For once, I'm going to give my children a Christmas that they will never forget.
Even though, to be honest with you, The kids didn't get shit.
Nope.
The drug dealer did.
Yeah.
And that's
For real,
how
man. I
we,
mean,
Yeah,
it's
dude, that's
honesty.
the real out.
and
That's
that's
the
how we
reality of it.
ended up getting our dope 90% of the time from that point forward. Was
Stealing.
you sent me to a store with a list. I get the
Or
list.
I'd go
I take
rob
it
somebody. Or, I mean, we went off the hook, man. Like, we lost our motorhome, place to live.
back. Walmart. Walmart.
Walmart took it. Yeah.
They took it. We were
Um,
sleeping in it. They
Damn
put it up on the
Walmart.
jack with us in it sleeping.
Wow.
And of course we jump out. So,
Right, of course.
well, once
So
you're out
after
there-
that, we tried to stay with a friend over in Everett, but she was just looped fruit, worse than we were at the point in time. And so our first night, I remember it very well. We had a sleeping bag and we were walking, and it started pouring down fucking rain over in Everett, and in North Everett, just before the college, on the left right there, there's a little Chinese food
it
restaurant.
used to be a Chinese food
Right,
restaurant.
and it's got planter boxes outside, and I said, "Come here." And we got under the eave, and I had her crawl. I sat in the sleeping bag and had her crawl down, and that's where we slept, man, all fucking night. You know,
Wow.
and I sat there crying. She sat there crying. I mean, because that's scary shit. We'd never been to that point. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and we had to realize at that point we've lost our kids, we've lost our home, we lost everything. You know, that just escalated to we went and stole a tent, more sleeping bags, food, whatever we wanted. Moved into the woods over
Yeah, I
in
was the best
Marysville.
dressed homeless person you'll ever meet.
You know, and started just fucking, the drugs just kind of took over, man. We were shooting up a gram of meth 3 times a day, like, and
With
that was
5
on a
hour,
slow
with
day
pop,
with mud puddle water,
mud
with toilet
puddle
water.
water.
It didn't matter, man.
Oh yeah.
We didn't
alcohol.
care, you know, and it got bad. We got in a huge fight. We were up at Silver Reef Casino, and she went to backhand me, and I just said, boom, like that, and I broke her nose.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Both my eyes instantly closed.
yeah.
Couldn't see out of either one.
Did
of them.
that stop us? Fuck no. Got back in the car, went and did another load of dope, took off down to the next casino where I kicked her out of the fucking car
And left me in
for
the
no
parking
reason.
lot.
Left her in the
Holy
fucking parking
shit.
lot to go do who
In a
knows
casino
what.
parking lot that we're banned from, of
Right.
course.
Right.
And I'm stuck in their fucking parking lot with all my shit all over the ground and going, I'm sorry. I don't want to be here.
And at this
I know
point,
I'm not supposed to be here.
right? At this point, she's like,
Yeah.
fuck this. I'm done. So she went and stayed with her brother. I stayed out on the streets doing my thing. She tried to get clean. It didn't work. And then she's just like, I can't be without you, you know, and back into the tent we went. We stayed in that like that for 2 years. 2 years out in the rain, miserable weather. I'm robbing people, holding them at gunpoint, fucking beating people up. Punched out a security guard at the casino because he touched me. I mean, like,
We ended up
Off the hook.
stealing a car from we jacked our drug dealer's car, right? Because he had a car and a motorhome and he couldn't drive both. So he'd usually have me follow him around with his Saturn, right? And it was already on a toggle switch because other people had stolen it before me. It wasn't like it was a new idea, you know? And one
Right.
time I went to go try to see him and somebody else was driving his car and I flagged him down. And when she had called him to see if I could come over, it's like, no. I'm like, motherfucker, here I am towing your goddamn car around for you everywhere. Stealing all this shit that you fucking want. I'm not even high right now, and you're telling me I can't come see you to, you know what I mean? Like, I got pissed.
Yeah.
And so she headed into the casino, and we had been camping across the street from the big casino, back in the bushes behind the big electric box, or whatever they call that. And so I ran and grabbed Dan. It stopped our argument. I was like, come on, we're going to go steal his fucking car.
I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it.
So, and it was clutch, of course. So he just
Pop
pushed.
the clutch,
I
yeah.
popped the clutch. We got in that sucker. We did not go back for our tent or our clothes or nothing. We went up to his cousin's house, and as we pull in the driveway, a fucking sheriff pulls up in front of the car.
Oh.
Asking for a Daniel something. I don't remember what the guy's last name is. I'm not me, bro. I'm out.
We
I'm
got
just
in the
grabbing my
car
clothes.
and
I'm
left.
leaving.
Wow.
Yeah,
In front
like,
of the cop.
for me, that's like God going, I would stop while you're ahead, but did I listen? No.
No.
We went all the way to California. Got busted like a week after we got there. I'd only been in the driver's seat 30 seconds because he got out throwing a fit. So I jumped to the driver's seat, backed up around a corner, and pulled up beside him, and the lights went off because they had heard us fighting, right? Cocktail dress and sandals at the casino. I wanted to leave it alone. Anyways. He thinks he's just going to give us a citation, right?
Which he was gonna until he
And
ran
then
the play.
he's like, you realize this car is stolen?
We're like, no. of course
Fucking
not.
slams my face against the concrete wall, puts me down on the ground, lets him walk away, and takes me. Now I'm in California, in a different state I've never been in, out in the middle of the desert, being sent to San Bernardino prison and cocktail dressing samples.
Yep.
Holy cow.
So it gets better.
Awesome.
After this, we have nowhere to stay because my aunt pretty much told us
Kicked
we
us
got
out.
to get the fuck out of here. So we go into town and we find this little apartment. The windows cracked. We jump in. We move in. Stayed there a couple weeks.
We went to the library.
Squatter? Or?
Yeah, we actually
Oh, yeah.
we went to the library and printed up our own lease agreement
and
and filled
That
it
didn't
out
work.
and signed it for the owner.
didn't work.
And so when the management company showed up going, "Why are you in here? You don't have the right to be in here." I showed them my lease.
Which had nothing to do with that property.
Which
at all,
pushed
but-
them off for like 2 days, but yeah, they still
So-
went to sleep.
We ended up getting involved with a bunch of people out there that fucking
Bad
drugs,
people.
yeah, and whatnot, and that didn't work out. So I just took off on her one night after telling her that I didn't spend all of her money, which I did. But and
He
we
told me
ended up,
it was hanging upside down in the pants pocket.
yeah. So we ended up down in Palm Springs on the railroad tracks, and right across from the casino, of course, because that's our jam.
Yeah.
And we're down there, and she comes back one night. I'd been up
At least a week.
at least a week or two, and I had fallen asleep, and I had tied the tent shut with a
He
shoelace.
sewed it closed with the shoelace.
Well, so our story differs a little bit on this, but this is what I remember. I was sleeping, and I heard somebody wrestling with the tent, and then I see this knife come down to the side of it. Now, mind you, I'd been up for a while, so this part may not be right. And then all of a sudden, they're on top of me, dude. Not saying a word to me or nothing that I heard or remember, and I beat the living fuck out of them, not knowing who it was, and I put her in the ICU.
Thought it was Freddy Krueger.
I didn't know who
She's
it
just
was,
trying to
right?
get in the tent.
Yeah, first of all, I didn't know that he had closed it with a shoelace. There was no machete. I tried ripping it open, and I couldn't get it to open, and then I fell on him.
And I beat her up
Because it was dark.
really bad. I mean, like, I put her in the hospital
Yeah.
instantly. She was in ICU for a little while. During that time, I burned down the forest right there on the railroad tracks because I started a fire and didn't put it out.
Underneath a bunch of pine needles.
And so she called her
I called an ex-boyfriend of mine, someone who had been there most of my oldest daughter's childhood as a dad figure. I called him and I told him the truth, that I'm gonna die if I stay here.
She probably was.
And so he reluctantly, but at that point my family didn't even know I was in California. They didn't know where I was because that was my thing, is that when I got high, I completely distanced myself from anybody that meant anything to me because I didn't want them to see me that way, you know. And so he hopped on a plane and came out to California, rented a car, and came and picked me up because I couldn't see. Like, my eyes were all swollen closed, and I didn't know where he was at that point.
I was off the hook.
Yeah, so I had him
So
come
she
get
left.
me and bring me back.
She
And-
left. We actually saw each other just before she left. Because, yeah, you stole my dope and my money and left.
Yep.
I remember. And
I did.
I lost my shit, dude. I stayed out there for, I'd say, about 3 months. Started getting heavy into cocaine with the methamphetamine, shooting it up. Just didn't care. Ended up getting endocarditis for the second time. Almost died. That's when we finally talked, I believe, on the phone. I
I was
was
in
in the
treatment.
hospital. She talked to a friend of mine and contacted me. And I was like, I'm going to
Because
come
I was
back. I'm
filing
going
for
to come back.
divorce is why I was trying to get a hold of
Right,
him.
right. And I'm like, I'm coming back. Don't do that. I want to get clean. I want to be better, you know, right? And I did. I meant those words when I was saying them. As I was, 5 minutes later, I was still putting a needle in my arm, but I didn't want to do it anymore. I was done, man. I'd been done. So she was in treatment, and I said, look, I'll be there the day you get out. And I had to be back, you know. And so I did. I stole a truck. I drove to Weed, California, where they almost caught me in the truck, but I'd gone into a store and the cops were outside surrounding the truck, and I'm like, oh, not me. And went over, put my thumb out, got a ride back. We get back. She gets out of treatment. She's clean for a little while. I'd say probably about a week.
Couple days, maybe a week at the most.
And then we're back in the tent. And we're back over here in Everett. And,
Yeah.
she's tired of my shit, man, and I don't blame her. Like, I was a piece of shit, dude. I treated her like crap, dude. I treated her like, something on the bottom of my shoe,
Well, and for me, what had happened is, when we do shit we're not supposed to be doing, we have a tendency to protrude that onto other people where, like, you're
Right.
accusing them of doing shit that you're not doing, right? And so this whole time, I hadn't cheated on him, right? And he was calling me a whore. Like, every time we got into an argument, he was calling me a whore. And for me, that's a fucking red light word. You call me a bitch, you can call me anything you want, but you call me a fucking whore, and I'm gonna whoop your ass as much as I possibly can, you know? And I got tired of it, and I just had said to him, I was like, you call me a whore one more fucking time, I'm gonna show you what that means for me. And he did. And I did.
She disappeared?
And I would disappear. I'd come back long enough to get some dope, and then I'd fucking make an argument, take off again.
And during that time, like, I was off the hook, dude. I didn't care. I was out. I was beating up. I was going in, kicking in doors, drug dealers' houses. I was fucking putting guns on people's heads on walkways, stealing their fucking money, dude. Beating up people that don't even need to be beat up.
And people were beating him up because I would do my whole poor me story, and they would find him and beat him up.
Hit me from behind, leave me. I was left floating upside, face down in a fucking pond.
The word toxic.
Dude.
Mind,
right?
It's like green
that's
slime.
I don't even know. First of all, I'm on the edge of the couch, and I've been on it since you guys started talking. Okay, so that's the first thing.
It's like that green slime glow.
Yeah, it was, and the word toxic. So how did you guys get out of this?
Okay, well, that's where I was just about to go.
Nice.
So,
gosh, let's do.
So I woke up floating face down in a pond, and all I remember was I kept hearing my wife scream, Dan, you need to fucking wake up. You need to fucking wake up. And I woke up and I took the deep breath in, dude. And pond water, I was choking to death, dude. And I could hear the cops. They'd already had the yellow tape up around me, and they're like, "Oh fuck, he's alive." Oh. You know, scared me, dude. So I went back to my camp, of course. Got high. I stuck a teener into a horse needle and stuck it in my femoral artery. Woke up in the hospital. Almost killed me. With her standing next to me saying, "You're done. You're either fucking done,
I just knew something was wrong."
It's one of the two, you know, and
I hadn't seen him in a couple weeks at that point.
So it didn't stop us right away. We went back out. She took off because she got tired of my shit again, you know, and we got in this huge fight, and I'm like, that's it. I'm going to fucking treatment. So I went to this the place diversion center, sheriff's program. Love it.
Plug.
Love
definitely
it.
Plugged it.
It
Definitely save your life.
Nice.
I was in there the first time for 3 weeks. And
I was still out there.
My social worker's like, no, I was getting some money back from Social Security, and she's like, dude, you're gonna take off. Cut that card up. So I cut the card up. Ordered another one the next day, but I cut the card up.
Cut that first one up.
That's right. I did as I was told. So you know, and I got like 6 racks, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Little does Heather know the manipulation.
Right. And I'm like, okay, you know, I got the card, and I'm like, I ain't gonna fucking go nowhere. You know, I'm gonna stay. And then it started, you know. Her brother was coming over because he was clean at the time. He's checking on me, and I kept asking, "Where's my wife? You know, where's my wife? I'm worried about her."
He wouldn't tell him.
He wouldn't tell me. He would lie to me and say, "She hates your fucking guts, dude. Just move on with your life."
He really
right?
would lie to you because at that point I did.
Well, yeah, but and something just told me, you know what? She's in trouble. So I jump out of there. Plus, I wanted to go to the casino and go get high. And she was like, literally, I got out, found her. We were at the casino.
I had gotten raped. That's when I got raped in that motorhome.
Right,
yeah.
And so. We hung out. We got high for about 2 weeks, and she's like, she was in the tent, and I remember it. And
now after 3 days, I'm crazy psycho bitch. Know that? Like chasing you down the road, crazy psycho bitch.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're in the tent, and I did my shot, no problem. I never had a problem. And she must have poked herself through a box of needles.
A whole entire box of needles from Walmart, the big ones.
Yeah, and she's like, "That's fucking it. You can just have it. We're going to treatment." And I'm like, "Okay." We're going to treatment, you know what I mean?
And I'm pissed. Every time this man can hit a vein, my level of pissed offness reaches another fucking level. Like,
which seems like a really weird reason to get upset, but
right,
I get it.
Right. When you're high, it's not an unreasonable reason,
I understand.
Bro.
I didn't say I didn't understand. I just said it seems like it's a weird.
So we take off from there, right? And we're
why can you get high and not me?
Right? Share, motherfucker! So we get into, we were in Marysville, I think we were in Arlington at the time. And what do? I start a fight with her. Like,
oh, that's a
I'm
good
like,
idea.
Oh, you ain't gonna fucking
it's
go to
worked out
treatment.
In the past.
Right? And she's like, well then fuck you, here's your bag, bitch, and hops on a bus and takes the fuck off. Well, I couldn't go back into the diversion center yet. I had to wait, I think it was 3 more days.
I was just done though. I was really just done. Like, when it finally got to where I could not hit a vein anymore, and I knew that I could never hit a vein again, I was done. Like,
that's it, yeah.
There was no joy in it. Even when I was capable of hitting a vein, it just wasn't what it was anymore and I was just done. And so
You'd think out of all the other stuff that you guys went through that would be done, but it's so crazy that by this time our addictive personalities and the way we think about things, it took you not being able to hit a vein before you were, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
even-
That's
Right,
what's,
right.
that's
my
what's
youngest
crazy.
daughter ended up in a mental hospital because of the shit we were doing.
We're
She
almost
tried
there.
killing herself, and I still.
So what happened is, of course, she jumps on a bus, goes to Diversion Center.
Because
I
my
wasn't
family's
done
all
yet.
begging me to.
I wasn't done yet, dude. I had one more in me, and I knew it. And so I couldn't go back in the Diversion Center for 3 days, anyways, because you get locked out if you leave.
Yep.
You get locked out for
14
2
days.
weeks. You have to come back after that. So
Would you recommend the Divergent Center?
absolutely
Absolutely.
love it,
Plug.
love it, love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Saved everyone's lives that I've dealt with, dude. So,
Beautiful.
So I
Maybe they'll
waited,
donate.
right?
Donate to 5R. I'll plug you a little bit more at Divergent Center. Anyway, keep going.
For real. So I ended up back out in the woods for a couple days. And I get this message from Heather, my social worker. She comes by and she says, "So, we're watching you. I want you to know we know everything you've been doing out here.
Oh yeah, she knew where he
Your
was.
wife's in treatment right now, or in the diversion center." And she's all,
Waiting to
and I got a
go.
message for you. You either come, get in the diversion center by tomorrow, or you're getting a divorce.
Yep.
And I was like, "What?"
Said you either come
Hit
here
me.
and meet me here and mean it, or we have no reason to ever see each other ever again.
Right?
And I really meant that too.
And and then also Heather was like, "And don't forget your kids," and because that's who Heather is. And so it hit me. So I walked all the way from Marysville to Everett. I showed up, and they asked her, "Do you even want to see him? Do you want us to let him in?" At this point, I weighed 113 pounds. Skin was falling off of me. Dude.
Yeah, I don't really think they would have let you.
And,
if I said that either.
So they let me in. And when I took a shower and I came back out, and Heather, she comes up to me, she's all, "You're leaving in the morning. I'm going to make sure of it." I'm like, "What the fuck ever?" Because I'd been in there for 3 weeks the first time, right? Not even a word of going to treatment.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, "Whatever," and she comes walking up the stairs. I remember this like it was yesterday, dude. Walks over to the fucking counter, and I'm standing over in the corner by the
Getting
TV.
meds.
And I'm watching her, and I'm like, "God damn," right? And she turns around, and she gets this smile on her face. And it was almost like
Because I
when
knew
we
he was
first
up there,
met,
but I was
right?
afraid to look.
And that's what clicked something in my fucking
Yeah.
head that said, "Dude, you got to do this. You got to do this, dude, because you don't want to lose that." You know what I mean? And so Heather comes out about 5 minutes later and goes, "Hey, you're leaving at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning." I'm like, "What?" "Oh shit, this just got real, right?" I'm like, "All right, I'm down." Went to treatment. She left like a week after I did. And I was in treatment 21 days, and I got a phone call from my wife.
I went to a dual diagnosis treatment center because just dealing with my drug addiction is pointless unless you
Right.
deal with the shit that creates it in your
That's
soul.
what the second phase of 5R recovery is recovering not just from the past experience with drugs, from the past that led you to
Yep.
drugs.
And I
Absolutely,
went
dude.
to Prosperity, which is
It's so
it's
important.
an amazing place. Yeah, I cannot say enough about that.
So good. What was
So-
that place again? Plug it.
Prosperity.
Prosperity.
Jotzi, baby. Jotzi.
I'll call you. Okay. Keep going. All right.
So I'm in there, and I've been in there 21 days, and I'm excelling. I'm doing great. I'm loving life, dude. Jotzi was a beautiful place. Well, not beautiful, but it was a good place, man. People are great. It saved my life. And I get a phone call, and they come down to get me because it's not my phone call time. Like, we can make a call every day, but at a certain time that she could call me, and I'm like, "What the fuck's
Yeah, we only
going
got
on?"
once a week.
And they're like, "You need to come down to the office and be with a counselor when you take this call." And I'm like, "Oh no." She went back out, I thought, or maybe I lost
That's the
somebody
first
I
thing
give
that
a
would cross
fuck
my mind.
about,
Yeah.
right? And I get on the phone, and she's all, "Honey, you need to sit down." I said, "I am sitting down." And she's like, "Our daughter tried committing suicide."
The oldest?
The youngest.
Youngest.
The one who went to go live with her dad.
Wow.
I flipped. I was ready to leave, dude. I was gonna walk out the fucking front door, to be honest with you, because that's my baby, And they let me graduate early and sent me on a bus the next day. I got to come home, and I had to start dealing with all that. They put her in a mental institution.
I
and,
stayed in
she had to
treatment.
stay in treatment. She wasn't
It was
nowhere
better off
ready.
that I
yet.
be there and
And,
deal with that.
But during that, we got to talk, and I got to talk to my daughter, who I hadn't talked to in 5 years, and
I don't think it was quite that long.
about that. It was around there. So it was.
Dates and times come back.
Yeah.
in time.
They vary. and everything.
Our weekend
It's just the way it
turned
goes
into
being an addict.
our weekend turned into 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was a long fucking weekend, right? And so and I thank God for all of it. Like, even my daughter trying to commit suicide, like, Every bit of that, dude. And I know it's all a part of God's plan.
Right.
Like,
And
you
it
know,
was
my
right
day-to-day
in the middle
life,
of-
I'm thankful for every fucking thing.
And it's
dude.
right in the middle of all those raw emotions that you're having to deal with,
Right.
anyways, right? Like not feeling for such a long period of time. So everything's enhanced as it is. And then for that to happen, it was just like, are you really going to push me this? Like right now? Is that
That's
a good
where your
idea?
faith changes, though.
Yep.
How long have you guys been clean now?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
September will be 2 years for me.
Very, very good. Now, we talk about why God puts people in their past. What are you guys doing now to help out people with addiction?
We run a clean and sober
Apartment complex.
apartment complex with about 40 people.
How many people call you mom and dad now? Where they're in that I know at least 20.
I've got this 50-year-old who's
Which is
calling
weird,
me mom.
You know?
Dude, it's what's kept us clean.
It is.
Well, no, it hasn't kept us clean. We've kept us clean.
Right.
It's about choices when it comes to that, but
we live and breathe recovery.
we live and breathe
Every day.
recovery every day,
Amen
all day
to
long.
that.
There's times when we hate what we do, but most of the time we love what we do.
The only points that you hate is when you see somebody else intentionally blowing up their own life, and I have to ask you to leave my life at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not only for and not only for everybody else's sake, but for my own. And it just sucks. That part.
There's
sucks.
no doubt in my mind that if somebody was to ask you guys for help in any way, shape, or form,
We do
you
it.
guys would help.
Of course.
The other thing
Absolutely.
is that the experiences that you guys have gone through have obviously been able to equip you with the tools to be able to help people.
Absolutely.
So if there was ever a question of what God's path was for you, yes, it sounds toxic and traumatic and crazy, and I'm on the edge of my seat during the whole thing, but you can help people that I can't even come
The
and
good
touch,
things that came out of all
you know,
that, and
which
what
is
I
amazing.
and what
Right.
I ended up realizing is if none of those things would have happened, then
I wouldn't be able to help people
single
today.
thing would not be the same. Like our
Right.
youngest daughter, who is in a mental hospital, she's very religious, right? She always has been, and her church stepped in instead of her going to like Fairfax or Western State. They stepped in and got her into Teen Challenge Girls Academy.
Teen Challenge.
Teen Challenge Girls Academy, where she's been.
Now we're getting good at it.
Where she's been in a 15-month
Yeah.
treatment center for just mental disorders, like kids that cut themselves or have anger issues or have parents who are addicts. She wasn't an addict,
Right.
you know? And so without that, then she wouldn't have gone there. Now she's getting ready to go to pastoral college or ministry.
Yeah.
And I think it's Minnesota, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And they're paying for all of it. She's got a lifetime scholarship.
yeah, her college is all paid for. Her church is like literally right behind our house, so we see them as much as possible. And so without all those things happening, that wouldn't have happened, I don't think.
I think God's got a path for everyone.
Absolutely.
And it's not just the good stuff that makes us who we are, it's the bad shit. We learn from everything we've done.
Absolutely.
Would I change some things in my past? Absolutely not. I
Right.
love my life today.
No regrets.
So you know what? I step out every morning and I thank God. I'm grateful, man.
Yeah.
I've got a roof over my head. I got a washer dryer. I got a fucking
Food in
nice
my
hot
mouth.
shower, which I love. I got a dog. I got my son back in my life. You know, I've got
Our
my dad
daughters.
back in my life. Our daughters, like good friends. You know,
Yeah.
like
Amazing
brothers and sisters. You know, like friends. And I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for what I've been through in my life. I wouldn't be able to relate to certain people. You know,
Yeah,
right.
you were even without being tested and tried, man.
Yeah.
It's what God wants us to go through.
So I
That's
have
what we're
two
made
last
for.
questions. One, would you guys recommend people to do anything they possibly could to get clean?
Absolutely,
Yes.
And number two, why did you guys agree to do this with me?
to help. If there's anything that somebody can get
So that
from
you
my
know you're not
story,
alone.
Right? Never have to do this alone
Hope.
again.
it takes one little tiny bit of hope, dude, to spark a new life, and that's all it
Yeah.
took for me. And that was the diversion center. They gave me that little inkling of hope.
And if there's
Right.
people who need to know that, you know, that you can have this shit happen in your life, that does not mean that it defines who you are now.
Your past don't define you.
But it's going to
Absolutely.
take work. It's not easy, and it
Fuck
doesn't
no.
just happen overnight. And so, if by me doing this, I can help some other female who knows that this shit isn't just happening to one person; it happens to lots of people. Then that's what I'm. That's
And you
what
can
God put
and
me
you can
here
deal
for,
with those emotions and feelings once you've been clean long enough that you couldn't do without drugs before.
Right.
right?
So this 5-hour recovery program that I'm putting together is pretty much everything that we just talked about. It has to do with connecting people with the right people to be able to help them get clean.
Right.
They can help people that I can't touch, that I can't reach because they've gone through different experiences together as a couple, individual, that I couldn't possibly do. would you guys be interested in helping me with this network if somebody was to call me and needed help with recovery? As
Absolutely.
a couple or a woman?
Absolutely.
See, and
You
I
have
love
my
that.
number, yeah,
I absolutely love
definitely.
that. So we'll leave. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much. I'm Johnny
Thank
Ray.
you.
Dan, Amy.
Thank you.
Absolute wonderful testimony. This is 4 Addicts from Addicts. You can subscribe. You can comment below. And thank you. That was awesome. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Peace.